All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to Rave ABCs. I'm so glad you could join us. I have got a fantastic couple of months planned out for you guys. I'm very, very excited diving into the Matrix. Rave ABCs is the first of the professional training tracked to become either an analyst, a BG5 consultant, all of the different wonderful specialties that you could go into. This is the beginning, the official start of your human design professional training. What we're doing today is we're going to focus on what the ABCs course is about. So has everybody been really comfortable with what black and red is? Are you guys familiar with what black is? What does black mean in a human design chart? If you could type that into the chat, I would love to see some interaction. So black means what in human design? Let's throw out some keynotes, some word phrases of what that means. Exactly, Rose. Personality. What else does it mean? There's another information. Yes, it's information about when you were born. There's one more, something that we can say about the black that we can't say about the red. What can we say about the black that we can't say about the red? This is something that you are conscious of. Perfect. Thank you, Ben. Conscious of you having, yes, Richard, yes, Julie, great job, conscious. So we are going to focus on how the conscious shows up for you in your life, in your charts, so that you can really get a good grasp of what's going on when you see in somebody else's chart black. You see what they are conscious of. We're also going to cover the red aspects of who you are. So what is red? If we're talking about red, what would that be? What are some keynotes of red when you see red in a chart? The body. Yes. Thank you, Julie. And we have another. If we have a conscious over here, yes, thank you, Richard. We have unconscious. Unconscious aspects of who you are is the red. So it sounds like you guys are aware of these things. We're going to dive into this in a practical way so that we can apply this in our charts and in the charts of our fellow students, because this is where we have a lot of interaction with each other to help us ground this information into our bodies, into our consciousness, into our awareness. We're also going to focus on in ABCs your circuits and the streams of awareness. We're going to introduce channels, we're going to introduce the hexagram structure, and all of these aspects that we're talking about here, we're going to do some simple keynoting of the main elements. So who would like to throw out some examples of what circuits are? I'm so glad you're excited, Ben. Circuits, some names of some circuits, either the keynote of the circuit or the circuit name, individual. So what is, yes, logical, collective, excellent. That's what I'm talking about. So tribal, thank you, Millard. What else do we have? We have other streams of awareness, knowing. We have abstract, yes, good, Julie. Abstract, centering, yes, absolutely. Great job, guys. I'm glad you guys are participating. So in this classroom, that's the neat thing about this go-to training classroom, is that it's a lot more interactive than what you might have normally experienced with me, particularly if you took an LYD in the past. So I want you to keep using that chat panel to chat with each other and to ask questions of each other when we do the introductions. And also, there's a questions panel you can see there. If you have a question, a burning question, and you want that to be answered, I'm going to be looking at the questions panel and not really see the chat unless I see it pop up on my screen like I've been doing with you guys. It flashes on my screen. I think that's so great. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is about the ABCs course, the logistics, any questions that you might have about what we're going to cover and what we're not going to cover, my focus as a teacher, and who you are as students, and what your goals are, what your hopes are for this course, where you want to go with this, or why you're taking it, okay? So I do want to hear from you if you're available to speak. Now, the prerequisites for this course, you all should have taken Living Your Design or about to complete Living Your Design. Living Your Design is the first step, and it's for everybody. Now, when you come to this class, Rave ABCs, this is where you're like dipping your toe in to test the waters of what it would really be like to be a professional. So we're going to stimulate that. I'm going to stimulate you, and we're going to simulate that in the practice sessions that we have, either in class or especially in our study groups. So those study groups are separate from class. They're not required, they're strongly encouraged, okay? They're there for you. You also need to have, before going into the meat of this course, a foundation reading. And if you haven't had a foundation reading from a certified human design analyst like myself, I want to offer you, just to the people in this room, a student discount on anything that I sell in my human design area, my shop, which is 50% off the reading, any charts that you want, any mentoring sessions, any reports that I offer, and any gift certificates if you want to buy something for a friend. Of course, for the foundation reading, this is the primary reason. If you need a foundation reading, or it's been years and you'd like someone like me, if you want me to do it, because I'm the only one that works at my company right now, it's completely encouraged and in fact required to have that foundation reading before we get into the meat of the course. We're getting into the meat next week, so if you have the time and you're available, let's go ahead and get that done for you. Now, with Rave ABCs, I have created this, I've structured this so that we are going to have 8 weeks of course time together. And I'm going to show you why that is at the end of this presentation, and I hope you guys are happy with that. That the IHGS, the International Human Design School, they only have 7 weeks, 7 sessions, so you get an extra week with me. We're going to have approximately 90-minute weekly classes. Who's here has taken classes with me and knows how often I stick to 90 minutes? Do I stick to 90 minutes very often, Julie? Or Richard? Sometimes I do. No. Julie says no. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I go over a little bit. Any questions about how long this class is? It may be slightly longer than 90 minutes. We're also going to have these facilitated study groups, and what I'm going to do, because that time, usually we have our big study group, you know, the open to everyone who's a student of mine study group, and now a student of Darshana as well. We have those on Friday afternoons at 4 p.m. Pacific, and that time didn't work very well for Julie. She's going to be helping me with facilitating. Before you go to the next class, we're going to have a study group where we can discuss your homework, where we make sure that you have time, set aside time in group to study, because this class is going to need your time for study. It's highly suggested that you have additional time for study. So Wednesday, okay, great. So Wednesday, it sounds like Wednesday is good. So everybody, let us know, let Julie and I know if Wednesday is okay for you. And if you can't make it for whatever reason, all of our sessions, study group and this session, will always be recorded and you will have access to it, okay? You guys all know me. I'm Andrea, 3-5 projector, emotional, wide, split definition. I am going to introduce myself as how I want you guys to introduce yourselves. So personally, I live in Mount Shasta right now, which is in Northern California. I've been here for almost all of my deconditioning experiment. It is my mountains environment, and where I spend all of my time and focus right now is in human design. I have a very full practice, and I teach here with my, my personal students at Human Design Life, I guess you could say, is my company. What else? Oh, what I want from this particular experience. I want to have fun with you guys, because I know most of you have taken classes with me already, and we're going to go forward together in this next experience, which is ABCs. So we took LYD, now we're going to ABCs, and I want to have this experience. I'm just excited, and the reason why I'm excited is because when you become an analyst or an HD practitioner of whatever kind, what you're going to notice is there's certain people that show up in your life that are on your what we call quote-unquote fractal. The fractal is people who are, we could say, destined or fated or have some kind of karma with you, but there's people that particularly you can see in the chart on the either the surface or deeper nuances. There's lots of different ways of seeing it, but there's these people that you get to meet when you first have your human design experience of being a professional, because they've been waiting for you to have this knowledge to pass on to them. And you guys are on my fractal because you've been in classes with me already, and as you keep teaching, you get further and further along from your fractal, and you get, you know, referrals from other people, and it's not quite as special or quite the same. And I've experienced this with all of you in my classes, that really special connection that we have. I'm really excited to deepen that with you guys, get to know you guys better, and watch you bloom through this experience. Watch you flower as a student and really deepen your awareness of yourself and your ability to practice with other people your personal, you know, human design keynoting abilities. So that's what I'm hoping for this class, is just to have an amazing, fun experience, and I'm so glad you're here. So are you guys ready to be empowered and share with me? Because that's what I really enjoy. Empowering and sharing is my thing. Thank you. Yes, you can see that my unconscious earth, the way I ground and balance my core essence of the gate of being able to really have a lot of resources, the gate of power skills, is this holding together. I'm here to contribute my basic worth realized in my individual efforts being contributed to group goals. I am a small group projector because I've got a channel between the G and the throat. You can see the fifth line is Dharma. It's exalted the teacher. Contribution, yes, Millard, as a process of sharing that accepts and expects limitation, exemplified in teaching. Meaning, I get to teach you for a certain amount of time, and then I get to let you go, because you're going to continue to train in human design, and I can't take you all the way. I take you through the foundations right now in my process. So I'm here to relay this message. I'm going to do my utmost best to repeat myself in many different ways. That's one of the ways that, and apologies for this, I'll fix that before I give you another download, but the primary recommendation of Ra was to repeat the heck out of yourself, but in different ways, so that people don't get bored or tired. I'm going to let the knowledge do its work, and I don't have a power trip here with you guys. I'm a student just like you of this knowledge, and I'm a student of you. So I learn as a third line through you guys, through experiencing, experimenting, and seeing what happens with you guys. So thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart, for being here with me, because without you I can't do this. I don't get the teaching benefits, which is deepening of the knowledge. So you yourselves are all teachers in whatever way. If you've got any kind of fifth line in your design, you're a messenger in that area. I'm a 3-5 unconscious. I'm here to share a message. My incarnation cross is about sharing, because it is being able to have this ability to recognize feelings and commit and share. All of these things are part of what a contagion is all about. So this is what my teaching is like. Now, my ABC goals with you is to establish a solid human design foundation where type is a constant. We have no slides in ABC about type. That was all in the LYD. That is going to be a constant, though, in when we talk about these different kinds of channels and looking at somebody's design. So always when we're doing practice examples of keynoting, bring in the keynotes of type. The core teaching of the ABC is red and the black, like I mentioned, circuitry, hexagram line values, and how to do chart synthesis. We're going to practice that in our study groups. And in this class time, I want to have discussion with you guys. I welcome your questions. If at any time, as long as you're paying attention, you're engaged. Are you guys engaged? Raise your hand if you're engaged, please. Let me know you have the raise hand button. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Millard. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Richard, Rose, Sarul, and Stacy. Did not raise. Oh, there he is. There he is. I want you guys to be engaged. So during this class time, feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question if you're really confused, or if you hear me misspeak. I welcome you correcting my mistakes because I have a third line personality. I do make mistakes, so I want you to keep me on my toes, and I'll keep you on your toes by occasionally making mistakes, and you can catch me and say, hey, Andrea, did you really mean to say that? And I'll go, oops, or I'll go, yeah, and I'll explain. Because at any time, if you're doubtful or you're confused, look at this. This is what of the circuitry. What is this circuitry designed to? If you know your circuits, you know what the super keynote of this circuitry is all about. I'm a 4130. I'm designed to what? My feelings. What's the word? We're designed to what? Our experiences. We're designed to what? Our judgments. Share. Yep. So if we look up here at the doubt and the confusion, what is it designed to be? It's designed to be shared. Yeah. Sharing. When what? What kind of channel is that? And when is it designed to be shared? It's a certain type of channel. If somebody was had only that channel in their entire design, when invited, thank you, it's a projected element. So when recognized and invited, you are designed to share your doubts and confusions. If you've got either the gate or the channel. Now, I'm telling you, when I went through my ABCs, I was confused. I was doubtful. I was still in my deconditioning process and going through all kinds of emotional stuff. So I sometimes couldn't hear what the teacher was saying at all. And I would get confused. And I didn't want to ask a question because look at this totally, for me, totally open ajna in my design. I didn't want to look stupid. There's no stupid questions. I want you to feel free to open it up and ask a question if you're confused. I'm inviting you. I'm recognizing you. Share it with us. Because if you're confused or doubtful, someone else might be. And it's helpful to have whoever's, going to be the voice of the group, which I am the example of the group. Julie's the alpha of the group. Do we have anybody with a 1333 in here? Or at least the 33, you're going to share what you remember, or maybe, listen and hear what's going on, and then share from that ability to say, we did this in the past, and this is how I see it going along. So I just want to encourage this to be a group experience with you, is what I'm trying to say. Facilitating group practice. And Ellen has arrived. Yay, Ellen. Thank you for being here. So glad. Oh, yay, 33. So Richard, for you, Richard, 33, you're the one that is going to be in charge of making sure that everything's going along well. The policies and procedures person, the person that is kind of like overseeing the big picture. Richard, you're my guy when it comes to overseeing what you remember happening in this class and giving me feedback at the end of class of how you thought it went, okay? And Ellen, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Feel free to say hi to everybody in the chat. Everybody can see each other's chat. And when it's time to go to our introductions, again, you guys, if you feel like it, you can use your webcam. I want to also facilitate and encourage you guys to share your study with your family and friends when they ask you, or if they want to know what you've been up to, and see if you can play with their charts. Okay, you've probably already been doing that, but this is the class where you really learn how to start to read a chart and not do any damage to anybody or tell them something that might hurt them or pain them or cause them any kind of suffering. This is the place where we learn all of these basics. So now we get to go into the introduction. So I did my introduction already. I want to just remind you, you could write this down if you, or just ask me if you can't remember what else to say, because I know sometimes you get embarrassed if you're in front of people you don't know yet. But I want us all to get to know each other over these next 2 months. So your name and where you live. What is the focus of your time? What do you do for work? What do you do for play? What's your role in life? Are you a mother? Are you an entrepreneur? What do you do if you feel like sharing? And what are your interests? What are your passions? And what are you here for? Why are you here? What brings you to this particular class with me? And what do you want from this experience? So I shared what I want from my experience with you guys. I just want to play and have fun and make sure that you guys are comfortable with the foundations of human design, and particularly, of course, ABCs. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming on and sharing a little piece of who you are, what you do, and what you want from this class today. That's really helpful for me to be able to connect with you one-on-one, and for everyone else to get to know you and to know each other, because in this class we really want to dive into this matrix. And the only way you're going to dive in is if you really get to know who you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and in the next 2 months we're going to be dealing with each other up to 2 times per week live if you make it to the study groups as well. So those study groups again are optional, but I highly encourage them just to connect, even if you can only come for a few minutes, and to share and to have that practice time with what we're going to do in this ABCs course. So we're diving into the matrix now. Now remember, this is your experiment. It is absolutely okay not to know something. I've gotten really good at going, you know, I don't know. Let me get back to you. Now the getting back to you part is where I kind of fall off the wagon sometimes. I'll write a note and then I'll forget about it because I'm a totally undefined ajna, and my head center just loses focus. So you guys feel free to remind me if I don't get back to you on something that you are burning question needing to know, okay? Please feel free to write me anytime. You can connect with me in Facebook or email. Stay connected to your education in a playful way. That's what my goal is as well. We're here to cultivate your awareness. This is your experiment, so you do your homework, please, experientially. Practice, play with it, read if that works for you, listen if that works for you. Your experiment is yours, and I want to invite you for these next 2 months, if you can get this to be a habit where you're committing to following your strategy and authority in everything, when it's really important for you to follow strategy and authority, that you're doing that, you are going to change in these next 2 months. Your awareness is going to be facilitated and improved. You're going to be able to be a captive audience watching your movie, completely captive, seeing that also big picture, but also the little details and nuances of you. That's what we're going to dive into. So I want to invite you. Are you guys ready to follow your experiment, to commit to that? Please let me know in the chat or raise your hand. Ready? Ready, Jules? Ready, Julie? Yes, thank you. I got some hands raised. Thank you so much, you guys. Ellen, Millard, awesome. I'm so glad. So we're going to have you follow your strategy and authority throughout this class. That's our goal, okay? Now the structure of class is I'm going to guide you through the materials. There are going to be weekly reading assignments. Now we're going to dive into how this all plays out as far as your manual is concerned. In this structure, I'm not going to change the order too much, but I've already, as a third line, I've already put in some other things where I'm like, no, we need to know this here. So anyway, the plan is that we have 8 weekly class meetings, approximately an hour and a half each, and regular facilitated study groups, like I mentioned. Our Facebook forum, the open group forum, we can discuss questions there, okay? Feel free to open discussion there. We have a suggested in this course of 24 hours minimum study time over these 2 months. So as you can see, you're right about there. So those study groups are just for bonus, just for you if you want them, okay? Week 1, we're going through Module 1. It's this intro of course and students. Next week, we're going to talk about the human design synthesis of what it is, deeper into that than we've covered in LYD. Week 3, we're going to cover the red and the black, the design and the personality, and also the magnetic monopole is going to be important to us, talking about that as well. And in week 4, we're talking about roads and tunnels. we're talking about the concepts of design and personality. In week 5, we're going to cover circuit groups, the big picture of the circuit groups. Week 6, we're going to talk about circuits again. Week 7, circuits. So you can see that a lot of this is about circuits. So by the end of this course, you're going to be really good at circuits. You're gonna know your circuits. And then in module 3, we're talking about hexagrams and have exercises. Now, I don't think 1 week, 1 session is enough to get the basics of hexagrams, and that's another reason why I added the study group, so we can really get our questions answered. It is, you know, introductory information, but I really want you guys to have a solid grasp so that you can do these experiences of keynoting in a fluid way. If you do not have the student manual or the definitive book of human design, you're going to need to get that between now and next week, because this is your homework, your study material, okay? I've put a link on this slide to the free resources on Jovian Archive so that you can go into the free media library and additional study if you're really diving in. You're going to want also the Maya Mechanics Imaging Software Edition. This was a screenshot of my Business Analyst edition, but you can download the free version at least. The student version is, I don't know, I think $200 or something like that. So that's a place where you, if you want to get a little bit more information from your software, that's the place to go. I would highly encourage it if you can get the student edition. And it's not available for Mac. I do know people that have Macs though that run it on however you guys get Windows platform, you know, programs on there. So there should be a way to do that. When you come to class, if you just get here a few minutes early to test your mic, that would be great so that we can start right on time, have a little bit of a warm-up chat. If you're late, don't worry, no problem. When you enter the room in this platform, go to training, you have the power to mute and unmute yourself, so I don't have to unmute you. Bring your water, get your book, have some writing material if that works for you. Definitely have your charts out. Turn off your phone or put it on airplane mode and close the Facebook so that we're not distracted, okay? I know how tempting it is to check your email really quick when you're starting to space out or feel bored. Come back to present, and as much as you put into this class, you will get that back tenfold, because the more that you're aware of this basic information, the better it's going to help you as you move up the levels in human design. Now, we're doing live lecture and we're having personal examples. The class time is going to happen, plus the study group time will equal way more than the minimum study time, okay? So if you attend most of the classes and some of the study groups, you'll be fine, you'll be covered. All of the recordings will have the slide presentation as downloadable pieces. You can share your webcam or not, like I mentioned. The recording is posted after class, and I usually will have the download in the presentation platform. Have you guys seen that yet? Where we have the materials, you see how it says 5 different pieces of materials there? It shows us how to do pieces of go-to training if you want to check it out, if you're having trouble with your audio, that kind of thing. And then there's the session 1, Rave ABCs. So you should be able to download that right now. So what's not covered in the ABC course is we're not doing profile analysis. When we cover hexagram line values, we're just talking personality in this class. The next class we'll talk about the dynamic between what happens when you have a conscious 1 or whatever it is and an unconscious 4 or whatever it is. But for this class, we're covering hexagram basics as it relates to personality. Okay? We're also not diving deep into the channel description. That comes from Rave Cartography. And Rave Cartography is a big course. It's going to be twice as long as this course, and that's why it's over there. That's why it's twice as long. It's because there's so many channels, and we're not diving deep into the channels. We're also not going deep into the biology of the centers. We introduce that in LYD, and we cover it further in Rave Cartography. If you took my Living Your Design for Projectors class, or actually any of my Living Your Design classes, I went a little bit deeper into the biology of the centers than most LYDs do. But in Rave Cartography, we're going to make sure you really grasp what that means. The gate and I Ching lines, the full descriptions, that's going to come when you first do Professional Level 1, which is a year-long class. It's 3 semesters. It's a big one. So that's not covered in this class, although we may mention a gate. We'll mention gates and we'll mention line values here and there just to get a flavor of the gate, but we're not going to cover it in depth, not enough time. Also, the planetary descriptions and the analysis of what those planetary planets are is not covered in this class. That's in Level 2. And incarnation crosses, that takes 2 semesters as well. Professional Level 2 is 2 semesters because we do cycles as well as these planetary descriptions, and we also do relationships in Level 2. So that's 3 semesters, 2 semesters, another 2 semesters, and then finally your last semester of professional analyst training is getting into how do we distill all this information that you're learning over these 3.5 years, how do we put it into a practical way to explain it to somebody else and not overwhelm them with too much information, right? So do we have questions here? Let's see. Oh, good. You guys are talking about the My Body Graph stuff. I'm so glad that you can answer each other's questions there. And I'm going to try not to get distracted by the chat. If you guys do have questions, then you can go ahead and either raise your hand. I see some hands raised at the top, or write it in that questions panel. And do I not have a questions panel in this thing? Let's see. View. Okay. Polls. There's no questions panel. No questions panel. So that's interesting. Apologies. You don't see one either, Julie. Okay, that's me. So we're not using questions panel in this go-to training. We're using the chat. So if you guys have a question and I don't happen to catch your chat flying by, please do raise your hand and unmute yourself, okay, when I ask, or you can just interrupt me if I haven't seen your hand raised for a while. So I see.
Andrea?
Yes, Rose, go ahead.
Just now we were talking about Maya Mechanic software, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can we use My Body Graph?
You can use My Body Graph for now, absolutely.
Right. Do we need to upgrade with I Ching, or?
You know, if you have the I Ching book in your repertoire of materials, you're fine. If you have the definitive book of human design, you're fine, because both of those have the I Ching details inside of those books. But remember, today, when I'm looking over what the ABC course shows us, we're not going into full gate line descriptions in this level. You don't have to do that until Level 1.
All right.
So it is helpful to have. I would definitely get it by Rave Cartography. For this class, if you've got the ABCs book, you're gonna, or this definitive book, you're gonna be fine. All right, so we know what's not covered now. We have a good expectations. Okay, good. So, study material. Your ABC student book can be brought from Human Design America here. If you're around the world, there's other national organizations at Jovian Archive. You can see where it's the closest. If you can't find one for whatever reason, you might be able to find a used copy in the Facebook groups if somebody's not using theirs anymore. I've also found books. Sometimes I found this circuit book, Richard Rudd's circuit book. Let me just click on that and show you what it looks like. Yeah, this Richard Rudd circuit book, I actually found it on Amazon. You might find stuff on eBay. What Human Design America has also done for the bigger, more expensive books, if you're overseas, they will sell you a PDF copy, but only if you're like going through training with a professional, analyst training or whatever it happens to be. So you can write to them if you have questions and you really want to get a certain book. I recommend this book if you do not have the definitive book. And in fact, if you do have the definitive book, this book will give you some dream rave keynotes, and it's really fun to look at and to read. I like this because it's very highly illustrated. Let me see if I can kind of show you inside the book a little bit. It's pretty. And yeah, see that? You can kind of see what's going on there in that book. So I really like that book if you do not have the definitive book, okay? The Living Your Design you might already have, or you already have the definitive book. So you know what the definitive book is. It's on Amazon. You can find it in many different languages. So hopefully that will help you guys with this particular topic, which is all about our study material. those books, either the ABC book or the definitive book, okay? Those are your minimum for this class. If you have it, great. If you don't have it and you need help obtaining it, please just write me, okay? So this week, this class today, study group assignments for next week is make sure you get your ABC book, get familiar with the online classroom, read through your ABC book through Module 1 on synthesis as your homework. So next week we're going to take a look at synthesis, okay? I'm going to leave the rest of this slide for you guys to refer to. This is our homework that you're going to be expected to do throughout the coming weeks. Hour and 14 minutes. Perfect. Thank you, Saro. So yeah, this study group assignments for this week, all you need to focus on is getting your book and getting familiar with this classroom and reading through the book and talking about the synthesis. And that's what we're going to do with study group next week. We'll see what we can do as far as talking about the homework and making sure everybody's comfortable with their assignment. So chapter 1 in the book is the human design synthesis. So that's all you need to do really for next week. You can go into design personality, magnetic monopole, and roads and tunnels as well, but that's coming up. We'll have separate places for that. And then, or a chapter, now I didn't get a chance to go into the definitive book, but if you need help finding where this information is, let me know. You would probably just read like the first part. Let's see, I've got it in front of me. Yeah, it is about the page 18 through 42 would give you a good grasp of this stuff right here in the definitive book. Oh, thank you, Ben. Yes, that beginning piece, the introduction piece.
Actually, I wasn't sure, so is that this part, yeah? The
yes,
beginning?
That part. Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yep, read the beginning part.
Thank you.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you. So when we're looking, we're looking at the benefits of human design. You guys know this. It awakens us to our true nature. If anybody asks you why are you doing design, you just say, it helps you know how to make decisions you trust. It helps you know how to make decisions. It's all about decisions. But when we come into this level of the class, we get to understand ourselves in the world, our role within the totality. It helps us know how to allow our life purpose, not trying to go reaching after and run after the life purpose, because it happens to you when you're making decisions correctly. Correct action, which is Buddha's term, being in the flow of your life, having action derived from being in harmony, not dissonance. This is the alchemy of being yourself. So those are the benefits you're going to get if you commit to your experiment and you allow yourself to have that life purpose flow through you. It's going to explain and also enhance how your body works. Are you guys, is everybody like completely happy with how their body works right now? Raise your hand if you're totally happy with how your body works. Totally happy with how your body works. Ben says yeah. Sadal is yes. So everybody else, you've got some kind of issue that you're kind of like, you know, I could really, there's something going on with my body. I can feel it. So our bodies are talking to us. They're always talking to us. They're talking to us in pain, in suffering, in dis-ease, right? So what I've noticed with human design is my body, yes, Ben says the body is the temple. And it is about you honoring your body and allowing your body to make its decisions and flow naturally through its life. So being able to allow your body, your form, your unique cognition to work properly is going to be another benefit of human design. When you operate correctly, your frequency is going to change into what it is designed to be. Now, here's a little tip. It's not going to necessarily be all roses and awesome, but it's going to be what it's designed to be, and the challenges that arise are not going to be those that have you suffer endlessly and feel in pain all the time. It won't bother you so much if you are in pain, because we all have emotional roller coasters sometimes that we deal with. We're either emotional or we're conditioned to be emotional, right? So yeah, lots of challenges in the environment, but if you're operating correctly and deciding which way to go using your body, which knows its place in the world, it's going to allow you to be okay with what your environment is, or your environment is going to nourish you if you're operating correctly and your body is leading you into the right place at the right time. Human design shows you your place, and it shows your direction in life, the stage. The nodes are the stage upon which your life is set. Your play of your life is set. It's going to show you an accurate mapping of how your mind, your conditioned mind, is trying to control or fix or change your life, and that's why the suffering arises. So it gives you the means to transform your own conditioning into one that nurtures and nourishes you instead of causing suffering. So it brings to mind, as an example, I want to go to here. Benjamin's chart. You see Benjamin's chart right here? Did you hear how he was talking about shamanism a lot? He is a shaman. That's one of his primary, his energy, his perfected form. And he's here to be in the flow and have his judgment be shared. All of the pieces that he is. Did you hear what he did for work? What does he do for work? Boom, undefined throat. The wisdom of how to attract attention and what really is important for us to communicate. Every time we have amplified, when we look at human design, we always go, oh, that's your not self, you know, you don't make decisions from not self. So he's not here to make decisions from how do I attract attention. But if he is responding to being in the flow of his own life, and he's out there speaking and making money in the openness, that's where we do that. These are your profit potentials, guys. So these are your wisdom potentials. This is where you can share with others who you are. This is where you live. This is where you are nurtured and nourished if you're not trying to use your mind to make decisions about yourself from the thematics of these undefined centers. So just to clarify, I don't want you to think of the not self, the undefined centers, as bad at all. They are not. They are wisdom. Especially when they're completely undefined like this. This is true wisdom potential because you can see Benjamin has no hook, no filter on how communication and manifestation is supposed to happen. So it can happen in all kinds of different ways. And he's got a lot of gates pointing at the throat center, so he's open to hooking into that energy and then speaking from that life force with the other when he's in communion with them. So just wanted to show as an example. So going back to benefits, yes, instead of causing suffering, we have wisdom. So now the magnetic monopole, you have your personality crystal, which is sitting on top of the head, pointed out of the body because it's not actually in the body. It's sitting on top of the skull. So this is what we call who you think you are, or what you are aware of that you are, right? And then the design crystal, you should remember this from LYD, this is your vehicle, this is your body, you have a limitation and you have a potential in this life. Your form has a limitation. I was born female, you might have been born male or female, but we cannot change our chemistry. It is what it is. Our vehicle is what it is. Now the magnetic monopole is the driver. It's our life direction. Whether it's defined or not, it's pulling us along a trajectory. So do you remember that feeling that, and here's another example, that feeling that I was mentioning when Jules said, I need to make a decision now. You know, that's a horrible, you know, trying to mimic it, but like just it's it's too funny. I can't make that real feeling yet. But that magnetic monopole, that driver, is doing whatever it's doing no matter what we're feeling. The design crystal, the body, is driving along, and if the personality crystal, the passenger, is sitting in the back seat and allowing itself to just watch the movie, then everything's fine. This vehicle is doing its thing, and we're all hunky-dory, it's all groovy, we're all happy, right? As far as we deal with life as it comes, and the decisions that we make, though we may make mistakes still, and we still have thorns in the roses, we can deal with them, and it's not going to faze us as much as if we were this. So that feeling I've got to go that way. She's pointing. You see her pointing? This is a slide, an image created by Marianne Winiger, who was the very first generator to get that strategy and authority reading from Ra and actually implement it. And she documented it in a book. It's available on Amazon if you want to read it. It's called The Revolution of One. But you can see this is the feeling. Can you guys identify with that? Your road is taking you, your life is taking you along a road, and you're like, no, I want to go that way. That way's better. The grass is greener over there. And while you're freaking out, you're disturbing your vehicle. Your vehicle's starting to, you know, crumble or have problems, or, you know, scream in pain because you're trying to turn the wheel. You can't. The driver's driving. And this is about, yeah, trusting and experimentation. Do you trust your vehicle, your driver, or are you trying to control from the back seat? So this is what when we come to human design, we usually will identify with the undefined centers controlling our lives, and that's where the suffering is. That's where the pain is, and this is the not self passenger, trying to point and direct from the back seat, freaking out because it's not getting what it wants. So that is the beginning. But when we're deconditioning, she's not freaking out anymore. Her shoe's back on. She's just pointing. She's like, look, over there. I want to go over there. I see stuff over there. That might be better over there. But it's not freaking her out to the point where she's not even able to see where she's, you know, where she is, who she is, what she is. She's totally freaked out over here. And as we decondition, we become calmer. The vehicle, the body becomes more relaxed, because in the beginning we're so living up inside of our heads that we're pointing and pointing and pointing and wanting that to be us. So remember, I'm going through these basics because I want to help you remember why we experiment, why this experiment is so important. Because when you surrender, look at her, she's shrugging her shoulders like, now I'm facing, I'm going this way? I don't want to go that way anymore. I just want to see what this ride, this movie, this drive is like, the journey is like. And then when you have your strategy and authority and you're not even thinking about it anymore, you're just enjoying, you're picnicking, you're drinking, you're having fun, there's tunes playing, and you're happy. Maybe you're not happy all the time because life isn't all exactly perfect, right? You're still going to have your mind talking to you on your shoulder saying, we should do this or we should do that. But if you're relaxed and you're trusting, you're going to have a better experience of life. This is about improving your life experience. And it's not necessarily, we say change your fate. It is about changing your awareness of what is going on in your life, and you're going to feel more comfortable in the body, and the body will no longer have the same kind of problems. It won't scream at you for different reasons because you're not obeying what it knows it needs. And the driver is continuing to do its thing and pull you. The magnetic monopole, defined or not, pulls you along in your path and your trajectory. So which one are you at right now? If you're at the this part right here, that's great. If you're still at the very beginning of the hair frizzy and I want to go that way, life should be different, it's okay too. All of it is okay. But wherever you are in the journey at this point is we have 8 weeks together. There's a myth that it takes 21 days to form a new habit. That's a myth. The research says that it takes more than 2 months, about 66 days. We have 66 days because we have one more study group right after, the week after. We'll do that so that we have 8 study groups as well. One of the study groups, I might not be able to be there, but the rest of them I will be there, hopefully the whole time. And on average, those 2 months is going to help you, if you're committed, and if you're studying, and if you're ready, it's going to help you have a different experience of life and closer to this feeling, rather than the frazzly, wigged out person that is trying to control everything. So now there's 3 R's of habit formation. When we're talking about creating a habit, you have to attach it to something else. So I want to ask you guys a question. What is a cue or a trigger that starts a habit? That means, you know, let's say traffic light turns green. Oh, we go. That's when we go. That's the reminder. So your phone buzzes. Oh, we answer the phone, or we ignore the phone, whatever our tendency happens to be. So when it's time to make a decision, what is a reminder? I'm asking you a question now. What is a reminder of your strategy and authority? What is a reminder? So if you're somebody like Ben, for example, and you've got an undefined throat, anybody with an undefined throat, what's your reminder to not speak? The habit is, I need to attract attention, right? In the not self, we'll just say as an example. Maybe you've gotten over this or not, but this, you're wanting to speak up, that feeling of, so the reminder would be, that feeling I get of nervousness or anxiety. Is this really, so you go to ask yourself. The routine is, was I asked? Was I recognized? Was I invited? This is the action that you take. The habit itself is to, before you speak, have some kind of routine, some kind of check. Yeah, some kind of check that allows you, yeah, I feel nervous, check in, says Julie. So you feel nervous, check in. Am I being asked? Do I have to say something right now, or is it okay to be quiet and listen and really wait for that clear invitation? Somebody maybe looks at you and waits expectantly. That's asking you to speak. They might speak up and say, well, what do you think? That's asking you to speak, right? And Ben says, I don't need to speak anymore, I wait. Excellent. So you have, this is just me adding, this is not in the regular ABCs course. This is something I've added on to, this is the last slide, or the end of the concepts that I want to share with you for today, because I want to set the stage for us for success. The success in human design is all about following your strategy and authority and living your design. Not about the information. You can go on and learn all of the information in this system, and if you're not living it, you're not going to really help yourself or help others. You're going to be living a lie. You're going to be inauthentic. And the only way to be really authentic with other people is to be yourself. And so these habits, the strategy and authority, are simply habits that get us back in tune with what our energy is really telling us. And after a while, you don't need it to be anything that you think about. But in the beginning, you need a reminder. You need to hook it on to something that already happened. So look at your undefined centers, and where are those places you are aware of before you do something that violates your strategy and authority. So we have reminder, something that happens. The routine, what is the action? Okay, I'm going to ask myself. Yeah, Ellen, I'm glad you guys like this. I was researching this morning and I just put this in. So you can click on this link to go to a guy named James Clear, and he's the one that wrote this down. It's derived from another guy, but he used reminder, routine, reward. 3 R's, so it's easy for us to remember. So what's the reminder? What's the routine? What's the reward? Maybe we could come up with, in our our study groups, we could come up with different pieces for each of the centers. That might be fun, right? So routine, asking, was I recognized? Was I invited? Am I being asked? And if you don't speak up, let's say, for example, in the throat center, what's the reward you're going to give yourself? So it can be really simple, and what I read from him was you could just say victory or throw your hands up in the air. You don't even have to say anything. You can just throw your hands up in the air, be for victory, and feel good that you stopped one of those habits that you already have that may not be exactly perfect for your design, for facilitating who you are out in the world. Does that make sense? Do you guys have any questions on how that works, or should I go into any more examples? And we can study more. And oh, great! I'm glad it makes sense. Yay! So if you get a positive reward, now I wouldn't advise giving yourself a piece of chocolate. That's not going to work, guys. It might terrorize your vehicle a little bit by giving yourself food. But I would definitely do something awesome. And you know, physiology, your body posture says a lot about what you're feeling in the moment. So we can change your chemistry inside. Let's everybody right now shrug your shoulders low down, hunch your shoulders over. Am I on camera? I can't see myself, so I have no idea. Does no one can see my screen? Oops. People can see your screen. Okay, so you can see me. Okay, I can't see me. So you're shrugging. You're going like this, right? Everybody's like, ugh, what does this feel like to you? It feels horrible to me. It's like, I'm dejected. Write some words. If you put yourself into this position and write your words down, what does this feel like to you right now? Does it feel comfortable? I'm not comfortable. It feels sad. I feel depressed. Uh, any other comments? Stuck. Yeah, that's a good one. Dejected. Some emotional feelings. What does this feel like when you're just kind of hunched over? And most people like work like this, right? That's not fun. So what you want to do instead of the reward is give yourself schlumpy. I love it, Richard. Lumpy and yeah. That's awesome. So that's a punishment for our bodies. Can you imagine working at your computer all day like this? I sit on a ball chair, so when I get excited, I get to bounce. That makes me feel good. So your physiology affects your psychology. When you have some kind of victory, some reward, you can say success. If you're a projector and you say success, wouldn't that feel awesome, right? Rather than being really bummed about stuff. So if you're doing this, reminder, routine, reward. Maybe you put a little something on your finger to remind you that you're doing this experiment. So this is my tool to you that I want you to experiment with and see if this works for me. I'm going to do it too, okay? So what am I going to do? I'm going to put something in my field so it reminds me that I'm doing this experiment. So you could put a ring on if you wear jewelry or not. You could put some post-it notes on in front of your computer if that's where you spend most of your day. In the bathroom, in the mirror. You could put it on your refrigerator, in your car, something to remind you the 3 R's. Reminder, routine, reward. So what's the reminder? We'll figure that out with all of the other things in the study group. What's the routine? The routine, the action that you take if you're a projector, recognized and invited. If you're a generator, have I been asked? You know, am I responding? You have the ability to respond to anything. So it's easier for you because you could be responding to, like Benjamin has done. He's been responding to pieces and being able to be of service, of help, by coming on really quick and showing that book. Is this really, am I getting this right? You know, that's awesome. Asking questions is also part of what you're here to do. But being able to have these different tools in your tool chest for this experiment, I want to see if this works. So you're invited. Please help me see if this works. You can click on this when you get the PDF download. You should have the PDF download. Click on it and go read and see if that works. So we have passenger journey. I want you don't have to tell me what this is. This is the last piece, I promise. I shouldn't promise, but this is the last piece that I want to leave you with today. Where are you in this journey? Most of the time, we'll say 70, 80, 90% of the time. What is your passenger journey right now? You do not have to share it with us if you don't want to. Right now, I am still somewhere in between pointing, because I'm pointing over there and I'm going, God, it would be nice over there. And that's my defined channel, the 4130, fantasizing, always wanting to project. I want a new experience. I'm imagining new feelings. I want to feel new things, so I want this new experience. And what would that be like? So I'm still pointing, and I'm also kind of sometimes going, I don't know. Wow, I'm going this way. Wow, I'm going this way. I wanted to go that way, but I'm going this way. So I'm in between that piece right now. Yeah, can you relate to that? So if you're about where I am in the journey, I just went over 4 years. It's right around there, you know, where you're probably relating, right? But sometimes, look, remember I said it's like 75, 80, 90%. The other 10%, there might be moments where like still there's these moments where you're like freaking out, like what the heck is going on in my life right now? And you're maybe emotional. I'm emotional. I cry. I go, why me? You know, once in a while. And it's a great while. Like it doesn't happen like the crazy lady with the crazy hair. Yeah, I'm sometimes that too, where I just go, whoa. And it only happens very rarely anymore, whereas it used to happen once a month. So my life is definitely changed for the better, my feeling about life and how my experience of myself. So I just want you to get honest with yourself and put yourself somewhere along this path. for now, for you, not for me, for you, just so that you're aware of where you are. Because if you stick with this beyond the 2 months and you keep experimenting and it takes you a couple more years, it's going to change. Richard says, me too, except I have no hair. Awesome. I love having the chat here with you guys. This is so much more fun. So, where are you? When you get your PDF download, you could write it down, you could journal through this experience with me. Might be a fabulous thing to do if you like journaling. If you're creative and you need some self-expression, please feel free. Feel free to share in that Facebook forum. And the driver, are you feeling like the driver, Millard? So that's all what I wanted to give to you guys today. It's getting comfortable. So my goal was getting comfortable with this new platform, answering any questions. So this is the time to ask questions if you need. If you need to go, I'm done for the day. So you feel free to log off and we'll talk to you later. And I'll see you guys next week. Julie says, oops, I have to go back in. You're welcome, Sato. Thank you so much for being here. That chat sometimes flies up and I don't get to read it all. She says, I feel like it happens when I have a huge release in the deconditioning process. The crazy lady with the crazy hair? Yeah, it is a release. It's a relief because you're still feeling and experiencing something, but it doesn't have the same staying power or sticking point. Okay, so that's what it's going to feel like or it feels like for me. I don't know what it feels like for you because everybody's different. So everybody's going to be vacillate between. You might even be up here enjoying the movie too at the very end, and you're totally fine. Everything's groovy all the time. That might be fine for you too. But sometimes we all have these moments where the passenger still freaks out a little bit when you're in the beginning of your experiment. So that's all for today. No questions? I don't see any hands raised. You guys were awesome. Thank you again for being here. This is so much fun. You're welcome, Richard. See you later. Bye, Ben. Bye, Ellen. Bye, Julie. Thank you. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Millard. Thank you, Ben. And Stacy, thank you for being here too. I'm going to stop the recording. Bye for now.